He wondered if invisibility was catching. He grabbed his tightened baseball cap just in case. Thank you for listening.
Hello, my name is Sunny. I'm gonna talk about the book named The Day David Wasn't There. In his drawing class, Mrs. Cooper didn't call on David because she couldn't see his hand raised. David finally came up with an idea. He raised his pencil and Mrs. Cooper finally called on him. After lunch, Mr. Cruz was on playground duty. He was strict about pencils on the playground, so David had to sit up. David's friend John helped ensure him, but David put on John's baseball cap and finally ran onto the playground. The next morning, David secluded himself. He was wondering if invisibility was catching. He grabbed his tightened baseball cap was catching.
Alicia. In history class, Mrs. Cooper didn't call on David because she couldn't see his hand raised. David finally came up with an idea. He raised his pencil and Mrs. Cooper finally called on him. After lunch, Mr. Cruz was completely on duty. He was strict about pencils on the playground, so David had to sit up. David's friend John helped and cheered him up. David put on John's baseball cap and went onto the playground. The next morning, David couldn't see himself. He wondered if invisibility was catching. He grabbed his tightened baseball cap just in case. Thank you for listening.
Hello, my name is Jenny. I'm gonna talk about the morning, the day David wasn't there. In history class, Mrs. Cooper didn't call on David because she couldn't see his hand raised. He finally came up with an idea. He raised his pencils and Mrs. Cooper called on him. After lunch, Mr. Cruz was on playground duty. He was strict about pencils on the playground, so David had to stick out. David's friend John helped and cheered him up. David put on John's baseball cap and ran onto the playground. The next morning, David could see himself. He wondered if invisibility was catching. He grabbed his tightened baseball cap just in case. Thank you for listening. Hello, my name is Ellen. I'm gonna talk about the morning, the day David wasn't there. In history class, Mrs. Cooper didn't call on David because she couldn't see his hand raised. David finally came up with an idea. He raised his pencil and Mrs. Cooper finally called on him. After lunch, Mr. Cruz was on about pencils on the playground, so David had to sit down. David's friend John helped and cheered him up. David put on John's baseball cap and ran onto the playground. Next morning, David could see himself. He wondered if invisibility was catching. He grabbed his tight baseball cap just in case. Thank you, listening. Hello everyone, I'm going to talk about the morning the day David wasn't there. In his story class, Mrs. Cooper didn't call on David because she couldn't see his handwriting. David finally came up with an idea. He raised his pencil and Mrs. Cooper finally called on him. After lunch, Mr. Cruz was on playground duty. He was strict about pencil on the playground. David's friend John helped and cheered him up. David put on John's baseball cap and ran onto the playground. The next morning, David could see himself. He wondered if invisibility was catching. He grabbed his Titan's baseball cap just in case. Thank you. Hello, I'm Guy. I'm going to talk about the book name David. The day David wasn't there. In history class, Mrs. Cooper didn't call on David because she couldn't see his handwriting. David finally came up with an idea. He raised his pencil and Mrs. Cooper finally called on him. After lunch, Mr. Cruz was on playground duty. He was strict about pencil on the playground. So David had to sit up. David's friend John helped and cheered him up. David put on John's baseball cap and ran onto the playground. Next morning, David could see himself. He wondered if invisibility was catching. He grabbed his Titan's baseball cap just in case. Thank you for listening. Hello, my name is Chloe. I'm going to talk about the morning the day David was there. Chapter 3. In history class, Miss Cooper didn't call on David because she couldn't see his handwriting. David finally came up with an idea. He raised his pencil and Mrs. Cooper finally called on him. After lunch, Mr. Cruz was on playground duty. He was strict about pencils on the playground. Teacher Cruz, David's friend John, helped and cheered him up. David put on John's baseball cap and ran onto the playground. Chapter 5. The next morning,